Here, Big 550 KTRS. Riverfront Times has an interesting story about what happened at Lake of the Ozarks last summer, and with everything that happened in Ferguson last year, the Lake of the Ozarks story was sort of taken off the front page. Would have been a much bigger story, except for Ferguson. And we're talking about the death of 20-year-old Brandon Ellingson, who was handcuffed and arrested and fell in the water and drowned. Danielle Marie Mackey joins us, who's written the story for the Riverfront Times. Good morning, Danielle, live via Skype.
Good morning, McGraw and Kelly.
Let's talk about this. Refresh our memories. How did this young man die and what happened?
Okay, so he had gone to the Lake of the Ozarks where his family had a lake house, and he had spent his summers since he was a small child for the weekend. And he had gone with some childhood friends, and they had spent a couple days just boating and enjoying the water, and were just leaving a popular restaurant that's called Coconuts. And he was pulled over by a Missouri Highway Patrolman named Anthony Piercy. And Piercy ended up handcuffing him, putting him on his own boat, and taking him across the lake to try to do a breathalyzer test because he suspected that he was operating the boat while drunk. In the middle of the lake, Brandon fell out of the boat, and here's where the questions begin about who's at fault for this. And he ended up drowning. Right.
Now, did they put a life jacket on him in some way?
They did, yeah. The Trooper Piercy put the wrong type of life jacket on Brandon for a handcuffed suspect. He did have 3 life jackets on his boat, 2 of which are appropriate for handcuffed suspects, but he chose the one that was inappropriate for. So it fell off as soon as Brandon hit the water.
So in the end, his death was ruled accidental.
That's right.
And this is what I find interesting. This Larry Moreau, who you really is a big part of your story, he and his wife, they were in a boat on the water, and they actually saw what happened, but they didn't see what happened in the end, right?
No, you're right. They saw the first minute and a half, they estimate, of what happened.
All right, so Brandon was drunk and had cocaine in his system.
That is what the Morgan County coroner's second toxicology report shows. The first toxicology report they ran on Brandon's body shows a slightly lower blood alcohol content and no cocaine content. So that is one of the facts of the case that Brandon's family is fighting in the federal lawsuit they've just filed.
And so do we know if you're drunk and high or just drunk on a boat and you're handcuffed? And he wasn't just drunk, he was very drunk, right? I mean, that's not in dispute, correct?
That's not in dispute.
Right.
That is true.
So you're very drunk on a boat on a lake, and you very easily handcuffed. So if you hit a wave, it's very easy to sort of fall over, right? I mean, that's not that hard, even if you're cold sober.
Yeah, and the Lake of the Ozarks is known for having large wake, for being it's a dangerous lake. Even nationally, it's ranked high in how dangerous it is.
Right.
What's in dispute is how fast this boat really was going, because Larry Moreau, who was questioned by the Highway Patrol, in the end, he did his own little study, found that maybe this guy was going, Highway Patrol officer was going maybe 40 miles an hour, although he testified he was only going 10 miles an hour.
That's right. Yeah, he most certainly was going far faster than 10 miles an hour. That was one of the facts, the case that the jury in this coroner's inquest that the Morgan County coroner called together. The jury never heard that fact. It just simply wasn't presented in the evidence.
And he could also be a key witness, this Larry Moreau, but they just kind of discredited him. They didn't even use his testimony.
That's right. Neither he nor his wife Paulette, who also had been interviewed by the Missouri Highway Patrol, were allowed into the inquest.
They ultimately ruled that it was an accident and the police weren't found guilty of anything, correct?
That's right. And in fact, the trooper who was involved, Anthony Piercy, was put back on the water 6 days after Brandon died, before the Highway Patrol even completed its own internal investigation of the matter.
Sometimes there are just accidents, and have they made any changes to procedure when arresting people on the lake?
No, not that I'm aware of. That's part of what's at debate here. I mean, the drowning of Brandon Ellingson has called into question a lot of things, one of which the merger of Highway and Water Patrol in Missouri and the training that kind of just went down the tubes, as folks have been describing it, when that merger happened.
Are they reopening the case? Because you have a footnote to the story.
Well, there's several things that are happening here in the future. One is that the Morgan County Special Prosecutor, Amanda Grellner, has agreed to look at the case again. She originally said after the coroner's inquest she wasn't going to press criminal charges against Trooper Piercy, but now she appears to be looking at the case again. Two, because the Ellingson family has brought Senator Charles Grassley of Iowa, the Iowa governor, on board, and also the Department of Justice, which is looking into the case to see if Brandon's constitutional rights were violated by Trooper Piercy's actions. Because all of these big names are on board, and because the Ellingson family has filed a federal lawsuit and a state lawsuit against Piercy and against the Missouri Highway Patrol, they do expect more details to come out in depositions in the process of interviewing everybody involved that haven't yet come out. And what that seems to be forcing is these internal voices from Highway Patrol to start to admit, not to anything in particular, but it looks like there are little cracks in the, there's more to the story than what we've heard, which is the postscript on this article was Sergeant Randy Henry's message to a Facebook group, admitting something or suggesting something along those lines, that there was more to the story to be told and that it would be coming out in the near future.
Danielle Marie Mackey, our guest, she wrote the story for the Riverfront Times. Danielle, you're in New York City. How did you get this story from New York City?
That's right. Well, I'm originally from Iowa. Brandon's a few years younger than I am, but went to the rival high school in my city. And I also went to college in St. Louis. So this story involved several aspects of my life, and it was a pleasure to work on it.
Where did you go to college here in St. Louis?
St. Louis University.
Well, all right, we won't hold that against you. Once a St. Louisan, always a St. Louisan. Danielle Marie Mackey has got this story in the Riverfront Times, RFT.com, to find out more. It's called Drowning of Handcuffed Suspects Still Baffles Family, Friends, and Witnesses. Danielle, thanks for checking in via Skype.
Thank you so much, McGraw and Kelly. Take care.
You got it. 8:30 here, Big 550 KTRS.